One more time. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm Mia Voss, and this is the Mia Connect Power Chat here on Friday the 13th. It's the full moon and Mercury in retrograde. I can't imagine what's going to break today. Or things could be absolutely perfect. It's hard to tell. So I'm here today with, I've got 8 people. It is busy up in this mug. So you guys take some notes, get ready for it, because we're gonna bust through it fast. I know there's a lot of you that are looking to find out about how to do this whole publishing thing. And let me just tell you, one of these things, I got to pull the screen over here, is not like the other. Who all here on the panel has written a book? Let's just see. Raise your hand.
Writing.
You're writing, Peg. You've co-written. Better get your hand up there, girlfriend.
I only contributed chapters. That's not the same.
I'd go with that. I don't want to go with the only. I agree. So that means one of these things is not like the other, and that would be this girl. So I'm excited to pick everybody's brain. I think it's going to be awesome. So what I'm going to do is go through a couple quick BatPack comments, give a couple quick shout-outs, and then our panel members are going to introduce themselves, and then we're going to just get into the questions because I have a feeling there are a ton of things that we need up in here. So I'm going to start with a few comments if y'all are ready. Hey, Sherrill, Duce, here to listen because I know there ain't no way I'm keeping up with all the comments. Hey all, she is probably at work today. The writing biz, I'm watching from the car with my son, driving in a downpour. Bless you for this distraction. She sounds like the perfect audience for that one. And then we've got, let's see, a couple more. Hi, Debi Davis. Oh, man, she's so good. Tweet this, party people, please. Get your learn on about book publishing, self-publishing, writing techniques, marketing your book, and more. Debi, thank you for that. Definitely tweet Get Your Learn On and tweet Batcrap Crazy because I want you to. And then Keith Odo, thanks for sharing good tips with us. And we're going to go with Andy. Brine has a question about struggling with writing. We're going to get into that too. So hi, Andy. He's here. Ooh, and look who joined us. Hey, Dustin Stout. Let's all give a shout out for Dustin. Don Swick is here. Don Swick and Nora Whalen. So, yeah, I love this bat. So if you don't know, that's what we call everybody in the audience is the BatPack. So please throw your questions in there. We're going to do 3 pretty much topics and dive into that. But first, I'm going to get to my panel because it's busy and it's so exciting. They don't know who I'm going to jump on first. So I'm going to go with Ryan Hanley. Welcome to the show. Tell us who you are. We already know that, but what you do.
Mia, it's so glad to be here. I guess we will break about 2 weeks ago. Some people know, some people don't. I left my insurance agency as being the director of marketing. I'm now in my own business, Hanley Media Lab, doing content marketing consulting. And I am in the process of launching my content warfare book, which I'm happy to talk about today and be here.
Yes, and let me do this for you. Because you just outed yourself, and somebody can news back the fact that you are now your own brand. I'm very proud of you, honey. I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Next up, Miss Peg Fitzpatrick. Welcome back. I am so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Miss Tiara girl.
I am. Let me clap for you. I love it when you wear your tiara. Peg
I
tiara.
do it just for you.
Yeah, I love it too. All right, girl, you are doing all kinds of good stuff. So tell us about it.
Oh shoot! I'm head of social strategy for Canva. I am everywhere on social media. You can find me on every platform except Tumblr, where I kind of spam my Google Plus posts. It's true. But you don't need to know who I am. You can just listen to whatever, and I'll just join in with all these smart people and say some stuff if I have anything that I can help with.
I like how she dumbs it down because that ain't how it's going to be, but I love it.
That was a lesson in humility right there.
Totally. Take note on that one. It was awesome. All right, next up.
I'm the best on that one.
I love it. All right, next up. Hi, Nina Amir. Welcome to the show. One of my first timers. I clap for you.
Oh, thank you, and I'm so glad to be here. So people know me as the Inspiration Creation Coach, and I have written, my new book is the Author Training Manual, and I also have the best-selling How to Blog a Book, and I'm an author coach and a blog-to-book coach and a blogging coach and a book coach, and I help people become authorpreneurs and blogpreneurs and basically to get their story out there or their book out there in a meaningful and an impactful way.
I bet you guys have no idea why she's on this show. Why is this woman even here? I love it. I love it. All right. Wow, that seriously, everybody drop off the call because Nina's got it. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And thank you, Denise recommended you as well. So next up, I'm going to go to Ms. Lany. Welcome to the show. I am so glad you're here, sweetie.
Hi. Good morning, everyone.
I'm clapping. Yes.
I'm only here to learn from Penny, Nina, Peg, Ryan, Sean, Mike. No, I'm the founder of Those Four Girls, and I am in the middle of writing my first book and co-authoring it with Ryan Rhodes. And I've got 3 other books already in the wings that I've started and just kind of putting down my notes and outlines on. So,
honey, what's the title of your book with Ryan?
Stop Wasting Time and Burning Money, and it's all about goal setting, vision casting, time management, and it's a full resource book of how-tos.
That's a big bada boom, sweetie. I like that. If anybody needs a lesson on good titling and like what's this book about, check those guys out because it's awesome. So thank you for being on the show, honey. I appreciate it. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Yay! All right, Denise Wakeman. Hello, darling. How are you?
Hello, I'm fantastic.
So sorry. I was late on my clapper. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. So, well, what I do, I'm an online marketing consultant, mostly for solo professionals and small businesses, authors, speakers, consultants, etc. I also co-publish with my partner, Dr. Ellen Britt, a site called The Future of Ink. It's all about digital publishing for online entrepreneurs, and I'm very pleased to see some of my fabulous authors here today. It's a multi-author blog. We have about 12 writers, and so we have Nina. We feature Nina, Peg, and Penny on the blog, among others. So I'm really excited to be sharing the panel with them today.
Yay! And, you know, we have the tiaras in common, many of us. Tell us real quick, Denise, where you got that bad boy. I love it.
I got this bad boy when I completed a half marathon, the Diva half marathon in San Francisco a couple weeks ago.
That gets this. And you're getting ready to run another one, right?
I am. Next weekend I'll be in Duluth, Minnesota running a half marathon.
Wow.
You know what I say? If I'm running, you better check for zombies behind me. Cause that's
I was going to say, I bought my tiara. Actually, it was a gift. Someone gave it to me, so I did not earn it the hard way like Denise did.
That's because you were called Queenie. And then I have my tiara that Rhonda Green made me too, but I'm going to go with my Google one. So, well, thank you for being on the show, Denise. It's always a pleasure to have you here. So, yay. All right, next up, thank you. I'm going with Penny Sansevieri. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, I'm going to clap for myself. And we were saying in the green room that your profile picture is you with a stack of books and a glass of wine. I'm like, now this is the girl I want to hang out with.
That's the best way to promote, I'm telling you.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me to be on the show.
Yes, please. I'm so excited to have you here. So tell us about you.
Well, I run a little company called Author Marketing Experts. We've been marketing books for 14 years, before Facebook, makes me feel really old. And we really specialize in creative promotion, because with 3,500 plus books published every day in the U.S., you can't do what everybody else does. And I also authored several books, including How to Sell Books by the Truckload on Amazon.com. So, yay! Very excited to be here.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's going to come in well. You guys see I'm weaving a little pattern here with everybody. And again, the non-common denominator is your host. What is everybody? I tell everybody I'm a crappy writer and a great reader. So I'm here for you guys, definitely. All right, next up, who do I have? I got my brother Mike Allton, who while he was waiting did what?
Wrote a blog post.
Welcome to the show. Show us your little mini tiara you had on.
Thanks, Mia. I am so excited to be here because my first book came out just last month on Hootsuite.
Mm-hmm.
So thrilled. And I'm already working on my next book, so I'm here to learn as much as you.
What is it that your little girl calls the owl?
Oh well, this is Baba's owl. This
Talk about brand placement. The 2-year-old already knows that Hootsuite and her dad are synonymous. And your book just came out just a couple weeks ago, you said, right?
Yeah, it just came out, so it's super exciting.
I'm loving it. I'm loving all my Smarty Pants writer people here. And last but not least, I was told in the green room that he's going to talk last anyway, so I'm going to bring him in last. Hi, Shawn Welch. Welcome to the show. How are you? I'm going to clap for you.
Thank you. I'm great. How are you doing? This is fun.
I'm doing well. I drank a bunch of coffee. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is my retro stomach mug. And, it literally has stomach written on the bottom of it. So I drank a ton of coffee just to keep up with you guys. So I'm ready to go. So, all right. So, your lower third's giving it away a little bit. Most people know who you are, but tell us what you do and how you fit into this world.
Yeah, so Shawn Welch, I'm the co-author of Ape, author, publisher, entrepreneur with Guy Kawasaki. We published it last year. Basically, Guy kind of handled a lot of the, author and entrepreneur bit, and I wrote the publisher section. I used to work in publishing for about 5 years. I consult Amazon and kind of work with ebooks and publishing in general. And currently, I'm writing a follow-up book to Ape called Artisanal Publishing: How to Make a Book, which is kind of the publishing bit delved out in, full detail how to make a book properly for ebook, print, digital, whatever.
No wonder Peg's always like, Shawn will do that. Is that what you said in the green room, Peg?
Awesome. Shawn is very techie. He knows all the super techie hard stuff. So
that
was good. The ultimate key
I'm
to
good
success.
at translating it to normal speak. Don't make it sound like the book is just super techy.
Yeah, Peg makes it sound like Shawn talks in ones and zeros all the time.
Yeah.
No, Shawn is totally relatable.
Granted, I can talk in ones and zeros, but
yeah, he doesn't though. No, the key is to always work with people who have different skill sets than you do, and that was like the ultimate Ape team. Everybody had different skills, so. Knowing somebody like Shawn, for anybody on this panel or watching, is a gift. It's like being a singer and knowing somebody who plays piano. You definitely want to be their friend.
Right.
And if you guys were waiting for the big takeaway at the end of the show, you just got it in the beginning.
Can I be your new best friend?
Shawn. All of a sudden, we're joking too that everybody in the audience has been trying to find Shawn, and so that's the only, that they're going to hit the 500 comment limit. Like, hey, Shawn.
Peg brings up a good point. And this, I don't know, we can segue into talking about this stuff, but one of the secrets to self-publishing is if you can't do it yourself, find somebody who can do it for you, and pay somebody to do it if you don't know somebody to do it for you. And Guy, Peg, and I for Ape. We call ourselves GPS because, Guy, Peg, Shawn, the three of us together, knocked it out of the park. And, where I lack in social media, I make up for in, technical, and Guy makes up for, in all of his work, that he's just incredible. So, I think that, connections between people are absolutely critical and important.
Mm-hmm. And wouldn't you say that just applies to any business that you're in? I know that's what I'm doing right here with everybody on Google. I've got my A team of people that know stuff that I loved saying, I don't know. I used to really be terrified of it. Right now I'm like, I don't know, but so-and-so does.
Yeah.
Right? Just
well, yeah, absolutely.
It's realistic that one person could know how to do every single aspect of something. And honestly, one of the trickiest things in social media these days is how to host a Hangout successfully, Mia. So you have, mastered one of the really, really hard things. And to me, if I was an author that didn't have those skills, that is something that I would pay for. For someone to host a series of Hangouts for me, I would do that.
Yeah.
And I call that I can has not write, I can has do Hangouts.
Peg, I just love how Peg just really set us up here, Mia.
Yes. No, it's
when you share my bat trap crazy later.
Yes, she totally did. This crowd is already working well together. So I'm going to jump into it. So you guys have gotten a lot of good bon mots and tidbits already. There's definitely a lot of questions out there. I do need to give a shout out to my newbie, Ellen Melko Moore. She had no idea that Google provided tiaras. We live in a brave new world. Girlfriend. Boom, that drops the mic totally. So listen, so this one is definitely for me. We had the the question earlier about writing, and yeah, I mean, guys, listen, let's get into it, especially my authors who are Ryan and Lany and Mike, who just put something out and then everybody's writing it. How do you even get started? Let's get in some really good tips, and that could be everything from Evernote to, you know, the shower, whiteboard, whatever. Talk about it. Jump in.
I do use Evernote.
I love Evernote.
And hi, Jason Frasca.
Yeah,
right. All right, I can do a plug for this because I did not write this, but honestly, Ape is the place to start because everything is laid out in there and there's templates. My favorite thing in the whole world that I had nothing involved in creating is the template to write a book. And when I started my own, that'll be my next one after this one. When I started that, I pulled up the Ape template and I added a couple things in, and it was like, voila, I had a book in front of my eyes, and I was like, damn, I'm totally writing a book. Because of the format, instead of looking at a Word document that looks like a million other things that you've written, the template, you are writing a book. And I'm not kidding. It's because of the bullet points and the style, and it's the style guide, the stuff that I would not have been able to figure out on my own.
I read Ape before I started getting serious about my book, too.
Did you?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, templates are it, you guys, because I mean, you do. If you're not doing that, it is going to look like the ones and the zeros. But let me back up even further from that. But like, what are you? How do you? I mean, do you just start and put it into that template? But how do you guys, for you that are writing the book, like Lany especially, you know, yours is it's all strategy. How did you even get started? Did you just kind of like? How did you even decide you had something smart enough to say to write a book?
Well, I mean, I do brain dumps consistently, so I'll get an idea and I'll just
please clarify.
And be scared. So I mean, but I have a category in Evernote, and it's like blog and book notes, and I'll just do a brain dump, and sometimes I don't complete the thought, and sometimes I do. It depends on what it is. And for this book specifically, I had a lot of people asking me for time management, like coaching and strategy and all that kind of stuff, and I don't want to coach people. Sorry, love y'all. I don't want to coach you because most people aren't coachable. So sorry about that too. So I don't want to feel like I'm banging my head against a wall. So
yeah.
But I wrote a quick like little e-paper, white paper, and I was like, okay, I can turn this into an ebook. And I had Ryan Rhodes create a cover for me, and he created such a badass cover, and I was like, damn it, I gotta write a full book.
That's what you're talking about, Peg, like having that team, like that she wouldn't have written the book if you hadn't had the graphic with it. I love it.
Yeah, so I totally backtracked, and I created a whole new outline, and Ryan's actually co-writing with me. He's an I call him my grammar Nazi, because he has a BA in English and all that stuff. So I have my graphic designer and my editor all in one. So yeah, that's how I started it. But I do, first and foremost, I do a brain dump, and then I go back and I revisit different things. So
I love it. Mike, Ryan, anybody else?
Mine, probably about a good 40 to 50% of my book was written in Google+. My whole theoretical concept around Google+ is thoughts go into Google+, resources go on my blog. So as I have ideas, notes, resources that I like, just things come to me around a topic, I put them into Google+ as posts. So I have a boatload of just original content on this platform, and then I hashtag it content warfare so I can go back at a later time and use that content in my book. So if you've read every post I've ever created in Google+, the book will feel very similar to you, because Evernote, as much as I love Jason Frasca, I can't, it's beyond me. Like, as soon as you get into those tools, I'm not a tools guy. I can't.
It doesn't work for your head.
They just go past me. So,
right.
Yeah, I've written my book, blogging, stuff that I've written just into a Word document, and Google+ has been where I've done most of my writing.
It's almost like when Carrie Bradshaw wrote a book based on Sex and the City column. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Let me put it into those terms.
Yeah.
But I like it. Yeah, I like it, Ryan. You're saying it may work for everybody else, but that's the really big key. And I even had that. I was in a mastermind group where everybody was doing their strategic map, and it looked like, the organizational, and it hurt my head. It hurt my brain. And finally, I just went, F this. I'm going to put it in Excel, and they can mock me when I get there. And everybody went, ooh, that works so much better. So I had to kind of buck the system to find what made my brain work the best. So
I think I would love to hear what people have to say about like writing your book in public. It's not 100%. Like no one's read everything that's
a version of it,
in the book. But there's a significant part. The theories will sound similar because I've written about this stuff a lot. And the thing that I've loved about it is that I've gotten real-time feedback from people in comments, in the way they reshare, in the way they +1, and that kind of stuff, and that's helped massage my work. So I would love to know other authors, other people who've written things, their personal opinions on getting that work out into the world before it actually becomes a larger body.
Please that's actually what Nina does.
Yeah, so I can talk to that. So I blogged my whole book. So How to Blog a Book was actually blogged in 5 months, the first draft of it minus 2 chapters, and that book has been a bestseller on Amazon for more than 2 years. And the reason that worked so well was because you could get comments, and you were building author platform in advance. So you're building a built-in readership for it. And it also, in those 5 months that I was blogging the book, I ended up with Google #1 Google status. So 5 months to #1 Google status. So for anyone writing nonfiction and wanting to get credibility and to get expert status, there you have it. I was an expert on how to blog a book in almost 4.5 months.
I love it. And Penny, I apologize. I had you blue box, but you were really listening to Nina, which was awesome.
Well, I disappeared for a few minutes. My computer locked up, so I had to go away and come back. I don't know if anybody noticed.
Honey, you should know that on my show, it's always about the hot mess. So you can jump in, spill a cup of coffee, whatever you want to do. It's all good.
So anyway, but to go back to what Ryan was asking, the fact that you can get comments on your work, people talk about writing and going to writing groups, to critique groups. And here's my contention about critique groups is you're going to a critique group, and let's say you're writing fantasy or romance or whatever it is that you write. I mean, a lot of our listeners may be writing about business-related topics, but maybe you're doing that. You're writing nonfiction, and everyone else in the group is writing romance and fantasy.
Right.
What kind of feedback are they going to give you on your writing? They don't know your genre, and so if you are writing your book in real time, in bit by bit, I'm not talking chapters, I'm not talking about serialization, but in small bits on a blog, what you get to do is to have real readers give you feedback.
Real-time feedback, right?
Yeah, and they're your real readers, and that's invaluable. You can survey them, you can communicate with them via the comments, any number of things. You can put up a forum. It's really, really invaluable.
I love it. Who else wants to jump in on that one?
Yeah, I have to jump in quickly on that. Oh, okay, never mind. Hello?
You know what I mean?
I have to go in a couple minutes, so I just want to
Denise and Peg are going to go, so jump in, Denise.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I want to piggyback on what Nina was saying about building your platform, because it's so important to be building that fan base while you're writing your book or before you're writing your book. I mean, why do Guy Kawasaki's books do so well? He's got a huge fan base that he had and has been growing and developing as he's publishing. So it's a really important thing to do. And when you're using your blog and you're creating that loyal fan base, then you actually have somebody to sell your book to for when it comes out. And a lot of people don't want to even deal with that. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to, it's like, I just want to write my book. I have these conversations with writers a lot, and they don't understand that it's a parallel track, the marketing and the writing. So that's my 2 cents about the whole thing.
So I'm pre-order campaign going right now for my book, crowdfunding it. 65% funded in 5 days. 5 days.
There you go.
40% of that are Google Plus audience members that I built through this process, through putting these thoughts out into Google Plus and building an audience in this space, 40% of my contributions have come from people that are directly from that space. So building the audience first, in my opinion, is hands down a must to authors in today's environment. Because who said 3,500 books a day, right? Like, the only way to be successful is to have that audience there for you when you deliver the larger body of work.
So that's a major point, because the thing is that people think today that you can just put together a book and you know, I'll make a little plug here. I talk about this in the author training manual, how to get started from mind mapping and brain dumping, you know, the whole thing. But what people think is that they can knock out a book, any book, right? But it has to be a marketable idea, first of all. But that they can knock it out, they can throw it up on Kindle, and then it's just going to sell. But you have to it has to be the right time for you to write that book. And it's not the right time unless you've evaluated whether you have this author platform. Because if you don't have it, you have no way to market. And Penny can talk to this, but your promotion and marketing plan relies on your platform. If you don't have an author platform, who the heck are you going to market to? You have to have an author platform in your target market. People who know you, love you, you know, trust you, that when you say, hey, my new book is out, would you please buy it?
Yeah.
That you have influence in that market.
And we're going to call this section "How to Not Have Crickets Chirp When You Put Your Book Out."
Right. But Mia, if I can add to this a little bit too, because we've been testing a number of different things just to kind of see where the market is and really using readership. So I agree with Nina and I agree with Denise, but we're also looking at using a book. So first off, short is the new long, right? So people who think I have to write a book that's 200 and 300 pages, you can, but you don't have to, because my book, How to Sell Books by the Truckload, on Amazon is 72 pages, and it actually outsells all my other books probably 15-1, which is astounding, kind of. But so that's the first piece of it. But the second is in some cases we've been using authors to release books. So in other words, owning a niche and using the books to build their platform. So one book builds on the other, builds on the other. And I think Hanley talked about this in a recent interview. You know, he talked about, you know, many times you can use the book as a platform builder, but you have to incorporate tools. And in fact, I talked about this on Denise's blog, The Future of Ink. You have to use tools in the book to help the book. The book just can't be out there. You know, your book is your business card, but it can also be a vehicle to engage authors with you and to help them build your platform. So that's another option too.
I love it. Hey, real quick, Miss Peg has to run, and she came in with her tiara, so we so appreciate you being in here, dear. So thank you so much. No,
I
it's
hate
all
to
good.
leave you all. This is an awesome hangout, so get your learn on with Ms. Mia. And
thanks. Got your good info there right off the bat, so we're awesome. Thank you, and then Peg's going to plug her information in there in the comments as well. So thank you for being on, and I know, Miss Denise, do you have to run too, or are you doing okay?
I got 5 minutes.
Okay, awesome, awesome. No, Penny, thank you for that so much. I mean, I think that this is things that people that we really don't know about. I mean, at least from the very beginning. I do have a couple. Let me throw a few more before we segue into the publishing part. Ellen wanted to know, just in terms of writing, not platform, does anyone use Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way morning pages to generate their daily creativity?
Yes,
okay, I
love
have
morning pages.
Oh, +1.
Love morning pages.
And I have a strong opinion about that.
Okay.
That's my #1 writing book, personally.
I love it. I love it. And I think these are good, too, if you plug that in. Ooh, Nina, are you going to get all feisty on us? What's your strong opinion?
I am.
Get it, girl. Get it, girl.
I find that a lot of my clients use morning pages as procrastination.
Oh, shoot. There it is.
Oh, damn.
It isn't that I don't like that book, and I love Julia Cameron, so don't get me wrong. But I find that my writers will sit there and they will do that rather than, you know, getting down to the real writing. They'll spend an hour on that and then they'll tell me, oh, I didn't have time to write my book today. And I'm like, you did. You spent an hour writing morning pages. So I prefer that they just sit down at their desk and they start writing.
And
Nina,
this
if they're
is why I
working
have
off
my
an outline, though, doesn't the morning pages start to turn into filling in the gaps in the outline?
It depends. If they're writing about what happened to them today, you know, what's just on their mind, then that does not. But yes, I actually suggest, that they do have an outline. I'm a big planner. I'm not a seatser. I don't have anybody write by the seat of their pants. I have them do a mind map, and that mind map becomes a very detailed table of contents. And if they go through my process, which is to actually use the book proposal as a business plan for the book, because a book proposal is a business plan, and go through all the stages of creating the information for a business plan, what they end up with is a very, very detailed plan for their book, a marketable book, actually. And so out of that comes a very a really strong writing guide. And so when they sit down every day, they know exactly what they're writing that day. So if they stick with that, then they're writing marketable content for their manuscript every day. So if they can then sit down and write for 10, 15 minutes or 20 minutes as a warm-up, some morning pages, great. But I find that most of them are not working on their book when they do morning pages. They're doing something else.
Oh, I love procrastination. I'm with you on that. Totally stay away from that. Here's a comment.
Well, let me ask Ryan. Ryan, are you writing something? When you do morning pages, are you working on your book?
Yeah.
So tell me how you do that.
I mean, for me, when I'm working on my book, the only thing that's on my mind is the book, right? So my morning pages are just my way of like free form, as hard as I can go, no like trying to put them in order, but filling in the gaps of the book, right? So whatever I wake up on and have on my mind of the book, I'm filling in that space with my morning pages. And really, they end up turning into the book anyways. So I guess my thought would be, if they're procrastinating on the book with their morning pages, they're probably going to procrastinate on the book anyways. So, but I just find it to be
stuck over there, right, Ryan?
I find it to be a very, for me personally, now this is obviously for everyone, it's different. I just found it to be an incredible way for me to like pour gasoline on my creativity for the day, is to get my writing done, at least some writing done early.
I just don't find that that's how they use morning pages, but that's great. The way you're using morning pages, I would be totally behind.
It's how it should be. I'm going to jump in because my brother Mike also, I want to hear a little bit more from Mike, and then I also want to ask a question. Mike wrote a technical book, Lany Strategy. Ryan, I don't know what yours would be, Strategy too. I'll just read it. That's all I know. But is this advice that goes across the board? Because like I said, with Mike's style, it's a little technical. So Mike, jump in on that. Do you feel like how you wrote the book could be advice that anybody can use in writing anything from a poetry novel, like Dr. Tammy's mom is supposed to be writing, by the way? I'm shouting her out. So do you feel like writing techniques, there's some things that are across the board for any type?
Yeah, I think so, because everything that Nina is saying actually sounds vaguely familiar, because I know it's going to be real shock, but I started by blogging.
Shocker.
That is a shock.
Not you,
and
Mike.
So,
no way.
with this book, it's all about Hootsuite, so I started by blogging about Hootsuite. Every chapter, well, most every chapter originally appeared as a blog on my site, and after about the third or fourth blog, I was getting positive feedback, and I thought to myself, well, I can turn this into a book, So I mapped out 16 blog posts, and then it ended up being expanded to 20 plus chapters in the book. So I was building the audience, building the platform before the book ever came out. I was getting feedback. I was generating ideas for more blog posts and more chapters. A lot of it flowed quite naturally. The thing I was going to mention earlier is I do all my blogging in Evernote, and because I've learned to use Evernote so well, turning the blog posts into a book was so much easier because I can create an entirely new notebook for the book, and then I can copy or move the individual notes into the notebook. So I've got a Hootsuite ebook notebook, and every blog post or every chapter is an individual note. I can create an outline, and that's what I'm doing with the new book. I have a brand new notebook for the new book, and I've already started an outline, and those outlines are becoming individual chapters, which are individual notes. So I can jump in there anytime I want to, whether I'm on my iPhone or my iPad or my laptop, and write.
Anywhere.
I'm so jealous of your structure.
He's got it. And don't think I didn't notice that somebody earlier said the word tool, which means on this show everybody drinks.
So you know what? You can a great tool, by the way, for structuring your book, which I have just discovered, is Scrivener, and you can import your Evernote notes and all of that into Scrivener, and Scrivener will organize it all like a note, like a binder, almost like one of those old Trapper Keepers. Yeah, very, very cool.
I think you had many people at Trapper Keeper.
I had kids. Can you tell?
I'm actually going to say the word slap band, and then we'll be right back to like 92.
Back 22 years. Hey guys, I'm going to jump in real quick with my bumper. If you're just joining us, you are watching and listening to the Media Connect Power Chat. We're talking about book publishing with, I got to read it because I got so many, Denise Wakeman, Lany Sullivan, Mike Allton, Nina Amir, Peg Fitzpatrick, Penny Sansevieri, I love that name, Ryan Hanley, and Shawn Welch. So now, listen, we're going to segue because we got to talk about, now you wrote the book, what you going to do with it? So I'm just going to open that panel, and I don't even have a talking stick that can move fast enough between all you. So you're on your own, guys. Let's hear about publishing. Come on, do it.
Well,
It's a place for me to jump in.
yeah, I
Publishing.
think Shawn should jump in there.
I think this is Sean's segment.
Shawn.
So publishing is a very very touchy subject for a lot of authors, because a lot of people think, I'm the author, I can do whatever I want, I can write what I want and people are just going to buy it. I don't have to, invest really any money into it. I can just write a book, and then, I'm an English major, I can copy edit my own book. I'm a content, I know what I want to say, I can content edit my own book, and my brother's sister-in-law is a great graphics designer, and she can do my cover because she's really good at, Microsoft Publisher, or Microsoft Word or something like that. And the bottom line is you can't publish a book by yourself. No author in the world is a successful writer, copy editor, content editor, graphics designer. Don't try to think that you can do this by yourself, because if you do this by yourself, it's like, you said something earlier like authorpreneur or something like that, and a lot of people need to realize, if writing a book and holding a book in your hands is just a bucket list item that you really don't care if it sells, and you just want to see your stuff in print, then yeah, don't think of this as a business. But if you want to actually make writing a career where you're going to write a book, nobody's going to start a small business and then freak out that they have to spend $1,000 to start up their small business, right? Like, it's ridiculous that authors think that they can just come into this and have no input cost, right? So in APE, we kind of break down that, you can spend as much as you want on a book, and you can spend as little as you want. Like, you could find somebody to do it for $10, you could find somebody to do it for $10,000. But we've kind of found, like, the average cost of putting a book, if all you can do is write, the average cost of putting out a book is about $4,000, which means you're going to spend $1,000 for a good copy editor, $1,000 for a good content editor, probably $1,000 for a cover design, maybe $500, something like that, and then $1,000 for layout and production. And depending on if you want ebook versus print book, you might have to have more and more there. Now, if you know somebody who's a certified copy editor, you can start cutting down those sales. But at the end of the day, we kind of ask the question, can you sell 500 copies of your book? Because if you can sell 500 copies of your book and you're making $5 a copy, then you can start recouping some of those costs. But that goes back to the whole beforehand, building your audience and stuff like that. The day you start writing a book is the day you start marketing your book, so that everybody knows that you have something coming, and it's not just, I've invested $4,000 and now nobody knows this book exists.
Right. You just start screaming about it, and people are like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And so I mentioned this earlier, but Guy and I are great writers. We wrote a book. I am, somebody who worked in publishing and does layout and production. So we didn't have to pay somebody to do the layout and production, but we hired a content editor, and we hired a copy editor, and we hired a cover designer. I built our website, and then we connected with Peg for marketing, right? So we didn't, Guy Kawasaki is an incredible force, but even Guy Kawasaki doesn't do it by himself, so why does the average author think that they can do it by themselves, right? The guy has 12 books, Wall Street Journal, New York Times bestsellers, and not even he tries to do it by himself. I don't, it's just one of those, it's kind of a pet peeve that, people come in and then you say, oh yeah, you should probably spend $1,000 on copy editing. And they're like, wait, what? My book is fine. I
It's
don't
a
need
scarcity
copy.
mindset. They have the scarcity mindset. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't believe that they can sell their book. That's what it really comes down to, is they don't want to spend the money because they don't actually believe that they can make the book successful.
Right.
What, you know, I mean, that's what, from the people that I've talked to, I mean, it always comes down to that, is they're constantly questioning the quality of their book, even if it's amazing. And as soon as you stop questioning the quality of your book and you look at it as, hey, this is something that's worth being out in the world and I know people will buy it, then the decision to pay for those services and make it the quality product. You know, the other part is responsibility. Like, you know, I'm doing a crowdfunding campaign. The goal is $10,000. Part of that is hardcover fulfillment, which has an additional expense to it.
Yep.
But, you know, but I feel like the reason I'm creating this hardcover is I have a responsibility to my audience to give them this tangible thing, right? It's limited edition. I'm not going to do a 2,500 run hardcover. It's going to be a 500 copy run. But, you know, I want to give the audience that supported me this tangible thing they can hold in their hand if they want that. And I feel like responsibility and belief in yourself are the two reasons that people don't invest that money in creating the best product they possibly can.
So
Penny and Nina, jump in here, please.
Yeah, I want to tag on to what Shawn said about this being a business. So I think that the biggest problem that there is in terms of education for people, for aspiring authors, is that they don't get that publishing is a business. And if you're going to self-publish, you have to realize that you are a startup business. You have to be an entrepreneur. And you need a business plan for your book. You need to start out with a business plan just like any other startup company. And you need to know what the costs are. And you need to know all these things. You need to have, excuse me, you need to have this professional team. And you need to be able to evaluate your idea, for instance, from the very beginning, just as if you were an acquisitions editor at a traditional publishing company. You need to know if it's marketable. You need to know if it's worth publishing, if it's worth investing your money in. And then you do need to invest your money in it. If you were going to go the traditional publishing route, which I have done twice now, what do you think they're doing? You are going to well, let's talk about what you're doing. You're going to a traditional publisher and you're asking them to be your venture capital partner. You have a product. Your book is a product going into the marketplace, and you're asking them to invest their money in your book, and they have to determine if it's a marketable product. And what you do is you give them a business plan, a book proposal, and they then decide if they want to invest their money in that, and if they want to go into business with you, whether you're a good business partner, whether you have an author platform, whether you're going to help sell books. So what do you have to do if you self-publish? You have to do the same exact thing. You have to determine if you have what it takes to be a good business person. Will you come up with the money? Will you invest in it? Can you evaluate your book for marketability? Can you sell your book? Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to be what do you call it? You know, to manage everything? Because you have to be a project manager. If all you want to do is write a frickin' book, then be a writer. But you're not going to be able to self-publish a book successfully with that mindset.
Mia,
and that's
can I
what we
jump
talk
in
about
with a
in the author training manual.
Joann Penn was on my podcast this week, and she's the creative pen, best-selling thriller novelist, self-published, really, really interesting woman. And she said a line that I think sums what we're talking about up here perfectly. She said, "Writing is for you, publishing is for the reader." Right? So you can write all day long. You want to write a book? Go write a book. You have every right to do that. But publishing is about the audience and the reader, and then it becomes a business, right? You are providing a product, just like if you were selling insurance or you were selling shoes, you know, or doing inspections of buildings. Like, it's a product like any other, and I feel like that gets lost on a lot of people because they're like, I want to write a book, and go ahead, but don't publish it unless you're ready to take that next step. That was her point.
I love that
Penny's
distinction on the
trying
one
to
hit
say
wonder.
something.
Yes, bring in Miss Penny. Boom. Do you see my message? You guys get a spanking.
I think what I said earlier, right? So your book is your business card. So the book has to look, you know, save the science projects for your kids and to put on the refrigerator, and, you know, publish something that's really, really quality, because you have to, you know, you have to really realize that most authors that come to us say, I want to hire you because I really don't want to do any of this myself. And when you bring in a marketing company or anybody, it is a partnership because you must be engaged in your own success. And regardless of how you publish, whether you publish traditionally or self-published, you have to do your own marketing. Because a lot of authors, like I'll see authors at events go, I don't really want to self-publish because I don't want to do any of the own marketing. Well, guess what? Publishers are not invested in authors the way that they used to be. And publishing is has got a lot of issues right now, for lack of a better term. So you have to do your own marketing. I mean, we've had authors who get absolutely nothing from their publishers, and it's not that the publishers are trying to shortchange them. They just don't have the time, the money, or the bandwidth to do it. So, and sometimes it doesn't take a lot, but it takes a lot of smart actions. Because a lot of authors will want to do, let me just put up some advertising, and I'm going to call it a day, and so I've done my job. Well, it's going to take a lot more than that.
So, I love that. It doesn't take a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I want to just tag on. So you have to. So this is where everyone's talking about self-publishing, but this is where an aspiring author has to make a decision. What's the best route for me? Is it self-publishing or is it traditional publishing? Because even though whether you traditionally publish or you self-publish, you're going to have to do the majority of the marketing and promotion yourself. There are all these other things you have to do if you self-publish. You have to be a project manager and you have to be an entrepreneur. You have to be ready to start a business. If you don't want to do that, you might want to think about traditional publishing. It is not this bad thing to traditionally publish. Plus, if you want to have I don't want to get into all the other reasons to traditionally publish, but there are other reasons. There's credibility, there's distribution into bookstores, there are other things that you get. Plus, you might get an advance, which will help you pay for promotion. So you don't have to crowdfund, but you might still want to crowdfund because you need money for promotion because you may have a small advance. And there are lots of reasons
to
traditionally
pay your mortgage, right?
And that too, because the average book today sells 250 copies per year, 3,000 in its lifetime. Mark Coker at Smashwords just did some calculations for me again. The average ebook sells only about 565 copies a year. We are not all making money on these books, let me tell you.
And
but
next
that
time
500 copies is, you could pay for your investment of the book in a year, right? Like that 500 copies is right around that tipping point where your book can, become profitable. So you have to see, is it worth this investment on the front end that, I can do this on the back end? And Guy and I say, talking about like the business of writing a book, if you only have one book in you, then you're probably not cut out to be trying to make this a business, right? Like you really should have more than one book in you if you want to make this a long-term thing, so that you can put a book out every 18 months, And the nice thing is, if you're not traditionally publishing and you're self-publishing, you can finish writing your book on Friday and then in a week have that in the hands of your readers. Like there is a quicker turnaround when you're doing this self-publishing as opposed to the 3-month, 6-month lead time that would be on a traditionally published end. But yeah, if you only have one book in you, that 500 copies a year, but if you imagine, okay, I'm making 500 copies a year, if I have 10 books out, that's 5,000 copies a year across my 10 books. And then once you just have to keep doing it. It's not a one-shot deal.
Right,
and
that's part of the planning too. If you do the real planning, you can plan out your career. You can plan out, what books are going to spin off from this one to the next, and that's going to brand you as an author, which Penny can probably speak to, but you want to brand yourself as an author. That's going to help you sell more books. And
that's a really important point. That it's one of the most common mistakes that people make when they self-publish a book is they brand themselves as their book. So when the second book comes out, they have to move that audience from one book to the next.
Right.
You really need to brand yourself as the author, and the book is just an asset of the author, not, I wrote Ape. It's Guy and Shawn wrote Ape. So that when we come out with artisanal publishing, people know that artisanal publishing is by Shawn Welch, not
exactly.
Ape,
Which, by the way, you've been +1 about 8 times by Ryan during this entire
Ryan's my biggest fan. I appreciate Ryan. Which, by the way,
trying to catch him on the blue screen on that.
Do something really quick, because a lot of people in the comments keep talking about Ape. We have right now, Guy and I are doing a promotion with BookBaby where
I love that name.
you can get a free copy of Ape just by going to apethebook.com/bookbaby. And let me see if I can. There we go. So apethebook.com/bookbaby. If you go to that website, you can get a free copy of Ape. And we actually just updated Ape to the latest version. Guy and I update it about every few months, where we change facts and figures and stuff like that, so that it's the most common information. But if anybody's listening, and that's the other beauty of self-publishing.
No
we can
kidding.
change the book and then update. So it's now at version 1.3 child. We kind of version it like software, so that every name is named after an author. So it was like 1.2 Austin, or 1.1 Austin, Baldacci, Child. We'll probably do Doyle next for Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
5 Fabulous.
5 Fabulous. Yeah.
Hey guys, let me jump in real quick. I want to just throw in, these are going to be rando comments that are just going to be all over the board, but Tom Collins and Yvonne DeVita are in the audience. I love these two. Book is a business card, we used to say at Windsor Media. Love those guys. They're here in Denver. Joey, our buddy Joey Giangola. People who say they've learned how to use Evernote know well scares me a little bit. Kind of like they unlock the secrets of the universe. Watch out for Mike Allton.
That's the comment of the thread so far, I think.
I love that. Mike Allton, high five for that one.
Yes. Here's, oh God, Andres, please spell your name so I can just pronounce it. Bless his heart. If I see one more writer come into the strategy community go, I wrote a book, how do I market it? I'm going to go crazy. Thanks for this, Mia Voss. That's awesome. That really was the intent of this, too, is to kind of blow the lid off the things like that, of like, oh, I'm just going to write a book. And I love this distinction that you made about it being a business, or are you going to be like a bad 70s one-hit wonder, right?
Right.
Yeah, you do not want to be a one-hit wonder, for sure.
Well, listen, we are coming up at 52 past the hour, and here's what's interesting when you think about this conversation, the way that I had the notes, this should tell you like where my head is. I had the writing process is the first one, publishing and funding, and marketing exposure is the last one, which clearly we've established is not the way to go, right, guys? Like, that's woven in through the whole process.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start marketing the day that you decide you want to write a book. You start building that audience. You start talking about your book. For Ape, we talked about earlier, writing a book in public. For the, for a use case example of writing a book in the public, Guy and I decided to write Ape. We wrote our outline, made it a Google Doc, and then shared that to Guy's 7 million Twitter followers in Google+. And then we got feedback on that document. Then Guy and I wrote the first version of the book, all 60, 70,000 words, and then basically said, hey, does anybody want to read this? Yes. And so we sent out the book as a Microsoft Word document with track changes turned on to everybody who said that they wanted to read the book. Then we incorporated all those changes, filled in holes and stuff like that. Then Guy and I wrote the book, finished writing the book, produced it, and then basically said, does anybody want this book? And we gave it to everybody who said that they wanted it. Right. And then the day that we announced the book live, so we had been talking about the book for 6 months. We started in July. We published it in December. We clicked the, every time we sent out somebody, we had their email addresses along the whole way, right? So by the time that we published the book in December, we had about 1,500, 2,000 people that actually have read the book and contributed to the book and were a part of the process. When we flipped the switch in December and made it live on Kindle, we emailed all those people and basically said, hey, that book you've been reading for the last 6 months, it's now live on Amazon. It'd be really great if you told us your feedback. And it resulted in like 85 stars review in the first 24 hours because everybody who was contributing along the process and knew about the book and was marketing, the marketing didn't start on December 6th when we launched the book. The marketing started on June 1st when we sat down in a coffee shop and said, hey, let's write this book. Right. And then once we did that, we basically say that as long as you want to sell your book, you should be marketing your book. So I just talked about this, book baby promo. We published the book December 1st, 2012, and we're still promoting it because we still want people to buy it. So we're doing promos like Book Baby, and so marketing never ends, right? Like there's a finite author period, there's a finite publisher period, but they're not a serial process. It's a parallel process, and then the marketing bit never ends. And with the way that Guy and I are doing it, the author and publisher bit really never ends too because we keep updating the book every few months. But yeah.
I'm going to jump in real quick just to say, and all the numbers that Shawn just talked about, cut those down by like 5,000 if you're just starting.
Well, yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, people think that you have to be, but even 8 5-star reviews, right?
That's right.
Like, that's, like that, if you just get, 50 people to jump in and say, I want to read your book along the way, that's 50 people that can leave feedback for you. And we didn't game the system at all. We didn't say, it would be great if you left us a 5-star review. We just said, hey, it would be great if you left us feedback. And these people who had been contributing along the way really wanted to provide feedback, and they really enjoyed the book. So the only way that you can get reviews on Amazon ethically is to ask people who've read the book to review the book.
Right. And,
which means you have to get it in the hands of readers.
One more point, and then we're going to wrap it up because we went at 55 past the hour. That's some good stuff. Jump in, and then we're going to do our closing comments.
I wanted to just mention that, I start with my clients when they want to write a book with marketing from the very beginning, because we go through this whole what I call the author training process. We start with a business plan, and we work at, what is your book marketable, and what is the market. And so once we've identified a market, we actually can then target that market with a marketing plan. But we're working on that all the way through. Plus, they're working on their platform from the very beginning. I'm asking them, do they have a blog? Are they on social networks? All of that. So it's all part of writing the book. It all starts at the very beginning, because you have to have a marketable idea in order to produce a marketable book, and you have to have that platform, and you have to know how to target your market so that you can write a book that's for that market, for that reader. So all of that is part of producing the book. So I'm going to quit there in case you have time for Penny, because Penny was trying to get in there too.
Sorry.
And and Ryan has to go, actually, because he's going over to Sheffy's. So listen, what we're going to do, I don't think we're too far on the comments. So panel, there's a ton of different questions and comments in there that are pretty specific. So guys, I promise you, they're all going to go in and answer you specifically on that too, because I think we have enough room for it. So let's wrap up. I was going to do the What's On segment, but we don't have time. I was going to say what's on the back of your head, unless everybody can turn around really, really fast. Show me the back of your head. What's on?
What's on the back of my head?
I don't have anything back there.
Nothing.
Nothing. Here.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, the book is on the back of her head.
No, it's the front of the book.
I know, it's the front too. All right, listen, I'm going to go through real quick. Tell me what you are bat crap crazy about and your call to action. Lany Sullivan, you're up.
I am bat crap crazy about my girl Susan Finch. She is amazing. I just love her. I love her. So if you haven't gone and circled Susan Finch, you just got to go do it. My call to action, go to my website, LanySullivan.com, and if you want to be more organized and set your plan out for anywhere from 2 to 5 years, I can help you do that with my book, and IceGumroad.com and LeanPub as self-publishing for all my stuff. So those are some resources that I use. Tools, drink.
Mike Allton, you're up, brother.
I am that crap crazy about my readers. Not just the people who picked up the book, but the ones who have been supporting me for over a year now. You guys are the ones that made this possible, so hopefully I can keep putting out stuff that will help you. And certainly, call to action, help me. If you haven't already, go pick up a copy from Amazon. It's on sale right now through Monday for Father's Day, just $6.99.
Love it. Hey. Nina, what's your bat crap crazy and your call to action?
I'm going to follow Mike's lead, and I am I can't say it, but I'm crazy about all my readers and my followers. I've been blogging since like 2007, and the people who follow me and read my stuff and say they're inspired, I'm just crazy about them and so grateful for everyone who's been with me on this journey for all these years. And my call to action is to go out and get a copy of the author training manual, because this is what's going to help you write a marketable book and be a successful author. It has everything in there. All the steps you need to create a career for yourself as an author and to put out a successful book.
I love it.
And you can get that at, you can go to Books by Nina Amir.
Love it. Miss Penny. Thank you. Hey, girl. What are you bat crap crazy about? Oh, hi. Well, I'm back crazy about you too.
This guy, this is Bernie.
Oh, look at that face. I would. Oh.
Oh, Bernie kisses. I am bad crap crazy about the awesome women that work with me at Author Marketing Experts. They are amazing, and they are far more talented than I could ever hope to be. So, yay, I love them.
I love it.
I love. We also have an Amazon How to Optimize Your Book for Amazon checklist, which you can get for free. You can email me or find me on Google+, amarketingexpert.com, and get all the info. And you can also write Bernie there, too.
Oh, I love it.
He answers all of his own fan mail.
I bet he should be friends with Bob Voss. I'm just saying. Ryan, brother, I know you've got to go, honey. So tell me what you're back crap crazy about. What do you want us to do?
Back crap crazy about audience activation in the crowdfunding platform Publishizer, which has helped me take all the people that I've built relationships here on Google Plus and over the years and give them an outlet to support getting this book off the ground. And though crowdfunding gets a bad name in some circles, I think I found it to be an incredible way to kind of validate the idea for the book. My call to action is contentwarfarebook.com. Yep. Right now we're in day 5. I want to completely fund the book in the first week, which has never been done before on the Publishizer platform, and we're only need about 25% to get there. So come get a hardcover. It's going to be an amazing book, Content Warfare, How to Find Your Audience, Tell Your Story, and Win the Battle for Attention Online. Mia, thank you so much. I hate to run, but it's been amazing, and great to connect with all you wonderful people.
Thank you, Ryan. Last but not least, what up, Shawn Welch? What are you back crap crazy about, and what's your call to action?
Yeah, so I'm gonna pull a sappy card and say I'm back crap crazy about my girlfriend, Lindsay Philby. She's actually a graphics designer though, and so it kind of plays in because she's a really, really talented graphics designer. If you need a book cover or anything like that, she's top notch. LindsayPhilby.com. But call to action, go get a free copy of Ape. ApeTheBook.com/bookbaby. It's
nice. Right there in your lower third. Smart man.
Yeah, it's really incredible. It does. Guy and I wrote the book because we wanted to empower authors. And we've gotten a lot of feedback, and we try to update that feedback. And there's been a whole bunch of questions in the comment thread. Can I purchase the updated version? This is a nice thing about self-publishing. The day that we updated the book is printed on demand, and all the ebooks are updated automatically. So if you buy Ape, you get the new version.
That is awesome.
So yes, get the free version of Ape. If you need a cover, go to lindsayphilby.com.
I love it. Which, by the way, take note, that's how you get lucky for the weekend party, people. Is that kind of comment.
Yeah.
So good one, Shawn.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
She's listening, so she's probably blushing at her work desk or something.
I love it. That one's for you, Lindsay. So, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much. This has been the Mia Connect Power Chat. We've been talking about book publishing with Denise Wakeman, Lany Sullivan, Mike Allton, Penny Sansevieri, Peg Fitzpatrick, Shawn Welch, Ryan Hanley, and Nina Amir. I'm bat crap crazy about the full moon because it's making everybody nutty and get stuff done. So that's what I got going on this week. My call to action is go to themiaconnect.com and subscribe and come back next week because I'm going to have a nice, fun surprise for you, but I'm not going to tell you that. So that's it, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.